Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. Last night I seriously put out this tweet alluding to the resurrection of F Blues, which can only mean one thing. We're back on Twitter again with seriously that the resurrection of Blues are indeed coming next. Not Vegeta and Trunks like we initially first suspected because of the tickets. So scrap that. You can save your stones. At least some of you can. Some of you are probably thinking, do you know what? I can finally catch a breather. I can save my stones. I know a lot of people are not the biggest fans of these two because they're not like one of the best units in the game, which I kind of understand. You can save your stones for Dragon Ball Heroes. You can save your stones for Vegeta and Trunks. You can relax. And so can I. I can catch a breather because Lord knows us global players need it. So all of these tabs here are for everything that is going to be coming that is important during the ROF Blues celebration, and we're going to be going through that right now. So don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, let me know down in the comments, are you going to be summoning for these two? Without further ado, let's go through it. So, of course, we're going to be getting a standard login bonus, we're going to be getting standard missions, there's also the Dokkan Fest. We've briefly gone through the banner and their kit already, but we'll do that again for the sake of the video, and of course when their details and stuff come out, we'll go through that again. Of course, you have their Dokkan event, you have a stone sale, you have a Kai summon. This won't be here because of course we've already got this, so either we're just going to be getting one Super Strike renewal event, which is, by the way, King Cold, or they're going to put someone else in here, but I highly suspect it's just going to be King Cold. We've got another Ultimate Clash, which means more stones. Story renewals are coming back as well, returning easy area for these guys. We've already gone through in the whole almost hour-long video. This guy's going to be getting an easy A as well. Is he a world beater? Is he a red zone demon? Is he an absolute god that whitewashes it? No, but he's still a solid easy A nonetheless. Of course, that brings around the Extreme Z Dokkan Festival, category summons. By the way, these have been in the game for years. Does anyone actually summon on these? Like, seriously, like, they've been out for years at this point. Does anyone actually summon on a category summon? Like, do let me know. Like, I'm actually curious. We're getting a new stage of the Extreme Z area. I actually completely forgot to get this up. I'll get this up in a minute. But we're getting an easy area, of course, for the LR Ginyu Force. We're getting new ESBR stages. Again, returning story events, returning Extreme Z areas. Bulma's Battle Prep is back. And the 44th World Tournament is going to be coming as well. You know how much we all love World Tournament, right? It's good, right? It's good. Yeah, good. Yeah. It does mean more stones, but still, it's absolute cheeks. The Adventure of Gratitude and also the Bizarre Rabbit Mob is also coming back as well. So that's everything coming in part one. So to quickly go over the Blues banner. Once again, it's not the best banner. Of course, you have the introduction of these two. The Jacko, by the way, I'm not going to go through his details right now. Otherwise, we're going to be going through so much and repeating a few of the things at least 3-4 times by the time these guys end up dropping. Jacko's actually pretty good, by the way. As I said in the everything we know is coming to global video, who would have thought in 2022 you would turn around and say, oh, it is a very, very good Jacko unit. Don't get me wrong, put some respect on the SR's name, like these two right here, because we still use them in World Tournament, but you know, no one really cares about World Tournament anymore. But still, there's actually a good TUR Jacko unit. You have the return of the androids who, because they were on the Gamma's banner, I could easily see Global swapping these two out for someone else. However, at the same time, I can kind of see Global keeping them there. Just because the Gammas were kind of like, not really a surprise release, but kind of like not within the scheduling that kind of was meant to come, or like the kind of typical lineup we were suspecting from JP. So I could actually see the androids actually keeping and sneaking their way on the banner. However, of course, they were literally just featured and are currently featured on the Gamma's banner. I should know, I pulled 5 of them. Kind of wish I didn't buy them with coins at this point, but that's Dokkan for you. But I can highly see them changing them out for someone else. In terms of who, I would probably say Dokkan Fest Int Margin Vegeta, just because it's probably time for him to come back. Otherwise, we're going to have a Broly situation where we're not seeing him for like a whole year. So I highly suspect Margin Vegeta will be on this banner. Is it more value? At this current point in Global, no, it's actually less value. However, During December, now that the scheduling has kind of returned to some normality, and that's where we're going to get LR Vegeta and Trunks, Margin Vegeta does get a new lease of life under their leader skill by having one of his sets of damage reduction at all times, because of course Vegeta and Trunks has a Trunks name in it, or there's a Trunks unit in there. So currently on global, it's less value, but in like a month's time, literally a month's time, it's the 1st of November, man. Where's the year gone? Then you can kind of argue, is it more? No. Is it potentially on the level? Maybe, but that's mainly because of LR Vegeta and Trunks. So Dokkan Fest Margin Vegeta will probably be there instead. Super Jeets, while my boy isn't up there as one of the better units in the game, he's still a very good unit, still has his uses, but you know, he's not like... No one uses him in Red Zone, so I can see why this banner wouldn't be very appealing. There's the Dokkan Fest transforming Angel Frieza, who of course has very limited uses, but still does have some here and there, and he's not a bad unit for longer events. You have Beerus, who he's still okay, and then Jiren, who really does need an easy A. But in terms of the blues, I'm going to try and speed through this just because we've done this before. But they do lead Realm of Gods Pure Saiyans at 200%, Mastered Evolution Pure Saiyans at 200%, and of course the 170 leads for Realm of Gods and Mastered Evolution. Realm of Gods is quite a nice 200% lead with Pure Saiyans, just because you're looking at UI Gokus, SSB Vegetas, Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegetas, things like that. Super Saiyan God Goku and Vegeta, and of course Easy A Tech God Goku is one of the best units in the game. You also have the LR Gods from Year 7. It's not a bad 200% lead. On Super Attack, Goku will stack his attack, which is very nice. So of course, while you're using him, you can stack him up until you get the exchange ready, which is a lot, kind of in harder content, what a lot of you should be doing if you do pull this unit. Or you can keep him stacking up if you have the ability to do so, but it is a little bit of a risk. These do have an entrance animation, which will obviously happen, there's no condition for it, where they'll get Ki +3 and launch an additional attack that's a high chance of becoming a super attack for 3 turns from the start of turn. And of course, that 50% chance of launching an additional super is going to help Goku stack up a little bit quicker before you exchange into Vegeta. And then they get attack and defense plus 150 at the start of turn. They get an additional attack and defense plus 50% on super attack. So offensively and defensively, their numbers will jump a bit. They do get an additional attack and defense plus 25% with each stat performed up to 100%. And again, the built-in additional for 3 turns definitely helps you build this up a bit quicker. It's only 5 attacks, but with the additional, you can probably get that done the latest turn 3. Turn 3, you'll get that done, considering it's attacks, not super attacks performed. So you'll probably get that done by turn 3. And then turn 4 is where the exchange conditions kick in, and that can be activated on the 4th turn, where you, of course, exchange Goku for Vegeta. The link set is Saiyan Warrior Race, Super Saiyan, Warrior Gods, Super God Combat, Resurrection of F, Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle. It's not a bad link set. You know, if you think about it, these 2 links here and then these 2 links here, very easy to link with other Pure Saiyan units. In terms of the rest of them, I mean, you could actually run them on rotation with the Year 7 LR Gods, Easy A Tech God Goku, especially with Warrior Gods, get that extra attack plus 10%. These units here, not units, these links here in terms of Super God Combat, Resurrection of F, you're only really going to get them active with the Easy A, AGL, Blue Goku, and all the Blue Vegeta Easy A's that are coming as well. So other than that, you'll probably be missing those a lot of the time, which is a shame because that's a decent amount of attack to miss out on. But still, solid link set nonetheless. Their categories are Realm of Gods, Pure Saiyans, Movie Heroes, Goku's Family, Bond of Master Disciple, Turtle School, Mastered Evolution, Bond of Friendship, Accelerated Battle, Battle of Fate, Power Beyond the Super Saiyan, and Bond of Parent and Child. A lot of good categories. A lot of good categories. Pure Saiyans is still grown as one of the stronger categories in the game for a 170 lead, and also correlates to a lot of 200% leads, of course, if they do fit. Movie Heroes just stays winning. You know, you've got Easy A Tech God Goku, Tech Gogeta, even though he's aged. You've got both Gammas. You've got Year 7 Gods. You've got these 2. The category just keeps getting better and better. Like, Movie Heroes just stays winning. Goku's Family still quite a strong category nonetheless. They, of course, Power Beyond the Super Saiyan is a great category as well. Of course, the Gods lead that. You're looking at all the SSJ4s as well. UIs, SSBs, those type of things. And Bond of Parent and Child, as I said, is probably one of the best 170 lead categories in the entire game. But of course, we'll be getting that in December when we do get Vegeta and Trunks. So then we have the exchange. So Vegeta will no longer stack attack after he exchanges, or after you exchange Goku into Vegeta. He will greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn by 50%, cause immense damage to the enemy. And then he'll randomly change Ki spheres of a certain type, int type excluded, to rainbow key spheres for 3 turns from the start of turn. It's a nice that he's a rainbow orb changer because of the way his passive is laid out. It would have been nice if he stayed a rainbow orb changer rather than just 3 turns, but it is what it is. The attack and defense remains the same. I would have thought they would have bumped it up. I said this before, but they kept it the same. He also keeps the additional attack and defense plus 50% on super, but at this point you would have been stacking with Goku by turn 4 when you exchange him into Vegeta. So in terms of the amount of damage he's going to be doing, it's going to be whatever you stacked Goku up to, then you're going to get, you know, Vegeta carry that over, and then greatly raises attack and defense by 50% on top of that. So Vegeta will be doing some pretty good numbers depending on how much your Goku has stacked up prior to the exchange. He will also get key +1 and a chance upon a critical hit plus 25% per rainbow keys for obtained. This is mad. So this, of course, him being an orb change of 3 times really helps this. But pre-dupe, this is very nice, especially on an int unit where you don't have any additional crits at 55%, it's just dodge. So even if you just get 1 rainbow key sphere, a 25% chance to crit is going to be great. But then, because he's an orb changer, you could easily get enough orbs to give him a chance, like almost a guaranteed chance to crit at like 75%. Or a lot of the time, if the rainbow orb changing helps you enough and all the rainbow orbs line up, you could potentially get a guaranteed crit for like at least those 3 turns, which means Vegeta's doing quite a bit of damage, especially again when you consider you've been stacking with Goku the entire time. Vegeta keeps that. You greatly raise attack and defense on super. That's going up by 50%. You get an additional attack and defense plus 50% on super in your passive. The attack will jump up anyway. Vegeta is actually doing some pretty good absolute raw damage to enemies because of the crit chance, which I really do rate. So the amount of damage he can do to enemies is really, really nice. He also gets an additional attack and defense plus 100% with 3 or more rainbow key spheres obtained, and then he gets an additional defense plus 50% with 3 or more rainbow key spheres obtained. So yeah, if you can get I mean, literally, you can get 1 rainbow key sphere, but you know, if you get a few rainbow key spheres, it's very easy to tick off all of these, like get a almost guaranteed, if not guaranteed, crit chance, get the additional attack and defense plus 100%, and get the additional defense plus 50%. But this bit just kind of ties in what I'm talking about with how much damage he can do. You know, if you literally get one rainbow key sphere, that's an extra 100% attack and defense on top of the 150 he's got, again, wherever you stacked Goku up to prior to the exchange. The greatly raised attack and defense on super. Vegeta is going to be doing some very good damage, and then you also again have to factor in the fact if he crits them, that's a lot of raw damage to be doing. And if you get a dupe, you could potentially additional super as well, where you're going to get this again, and then you're going to greatly raise your attack and defense for a second time, which means he's going to do even more damage. And again, you could potentially crit and do some crazy amounts of damage in 1 turn for a unit that doesn't have built-in additionals, doesn't super attack like 3-4 times like the Year 7 gods or Year 7 SSJ4s. It's some good damage output. And if you get the 3 or more key spheres as well, get the extra 50% defense. Defensively, he's in a solid spot. He's in a solid spot while doing some very, very nice damage, if I do say so myself. Then we have the Angel Golden Frieza EZA, which after EZAing, he leads 1 Resurrected Warriors up to 170 now, and int types get key +3 and attack HP attack and defense plus 120. On super attack, he does greatly raise his defense by 50% for 1 turn. He causes immense damage to the enemy and greatly lowers defense. At the start of turn, he gets attack plus 250, which is actually very nice, and he gets defense plus 150. All enemies attack minus 15%, which isn't going to make, I always say this, but this type of stuff, this isn't going to make too much of an impact where you can utilize it, but it's something. It's nice to have rather than not. Superclass allies, enemies attack minus 7%, which means he still keeps that annoying thing of your superclass allies won't be doing as much damage as they possibly can, which is a little, it's a little bit doo-doo. I mean, it's not that bad because it's only 7%, but it's a little bit doo-doo because the majority of categories you'll run him on, or a lot of the categories you can run him on, there are a lot of superclass allies. So your better bet would be either you just kind of firm it, which again is only 7%, or if it really bothers you that much, don't use this guy. Because again, a lot of the categories he goes on, for example, like reps, mastered evolution, gifted warriors to an extent, full power to an extent, universe survival saga, a lot of them are superclass units, so a lot of them will be affected by this, but at the end of the day, it's only 7%. He then gets an additional attack and defense plus 100% when facing a superclass enemy. So of course in Red Zone, there's no superclass enemies. However, in Super Battle Road, he'll be a good unit there, especially when there is superclass enemies. Of course, attacks effective against all types when there is another Reps Universe 7 category ally attacking in the same turn. And this is what I mean. If you were to run him on Reps, which helps him a lot because your attacks become effective against all types, and also at this point, a lot of you probably have dupes in him where he's critting, getting additionals. He can actually work really, really well on a Reps team. But then, of course, all superclass allies have their attack minus 7%, which, again, it's only 7%. It won't make too much of an impact, but it is a little bit annoying considering a Reps team is full of superclass allies who won't be performing offensively at their best. But in like a Super Battle Road, this Golden Freezer, I'm not gonna lie, he'll pop off. He'll do really, really well there. In terms of other events, I mean, right now, I mean, you're looking at Red Zone and Cell Max where he's not suited for that. He's not made for that. But that's what I say. If you're expecting every EZA to drop and become the new best EZA in the game and be able to like run through Red Zone, you probably need to lower your expectations because that's not what the EZAs are for. But he's a very good unit for SBR going forward and a good shout for a team. It's a shame about this bit, but you know, it kind of makes sense. It makes sense. Then we have the LR Tech Ginyu Force EZA, which is a very good EZA. This can finally finish out the team after getting the Ginyu Force EZA for the individual units, what, like a year or so ago now, maybe 2? But they do lead Ginyu Force with Key +4, HP and attack and defense +130. On 12 key, they greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn and cause colossal damage to the enemy. On 18 key, they greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn, cause mega colossal damage to the enemy, and raises extreme class allies attack by 30% for 1 turn, which is really good. Considering how easy it is to get an 18 key off with these guys, you're going to be hitting this all the time, and because you rainbow them out for free, you could potentially greatly raise their attack and defense twice in 1 turn. A lot of the time, again, because you rainbow these guys out for free. So they'll be putting out some very solid numbers, decent defense as well. And then on their passive, they get Key +3, attack and defense +59%, plus an additional attack and defense +10% up to 59% per Ginyu Force category on the team. Typically, when you're going to be using this guy, it is literally going to be, or these guys, it is going to be on a Ginyu Force category team. Literally just a full Ginyu Force category team. And if you have the pullable premium units, like for example, Dokkan Fest Ginyu, the Jason Berta, Rakumen Goldo, you can squeeze them on as well, you know, get a bit of extra support, a little bit more damage in there, some, you know, better units, better pullable units on there. But in general, you're always going to be running these guys surrounded by the Ginyu Force, whether that's the full free-to-play team or a mixture of some of the summonable units, entirely up to you. So you're always going to be getting that off. Extreme class allies all get attack and defense +30% as well, and Ginyu Force category allies get attack and defense +29% in addition. So again, whether that's going to be a mixture of some of the summonable units, the free-to-play units, entirely up to you, and whether you have the pullable units, but they will be supporting them very, very well. And as I said, this EZA is just very, very, very good. So yeah, I can't wait for that to drop as well. And then we have the legendary summon for one of the best yellow/gold coin LRs in the game. But before we run through that, we'll quickly run through part 2 and everything that's coming. So of course, we have the legendary summon for LR Golden Freezer. We have a renewal Super Strike event for King Cold. As I said earlier, I do suspect that I don't think they'll rearrange and bring another one here, because this is Mecha Freezer was meant to be in part 1. We've already got him on global during the Gamma celebration. They'll probably just have the one, which will be King Cold, which we'll go through in a minute. There's more ESBR stages. We're getting an easy area for this Golden Freezer and Sorbet. Some returning EZA stages. Quite obvious because there's 3 Super Saiyan Blue Vegetas that are getting EZAs. Return of story events. The usual returning of more EZAs. And a 15th Patan battle. So this is going to be the Golden Freezer banner, or the legendary summon banner for Golden Freezer. Of course, you have Golden Freezer himself. You have the Fizz Golden Freezer in 17, who are not that good. So yeah, not a whole lot of value there. And also the Tech GOKU Freezer, whose EZA is solid. I mean, if they waited, it could have been a whole lot better, but another one that's aged quite a bit. So I mean, in general, there's not a whole lot of value on this banner. I mean, you have Third Form Freezer, who's featured on every banner, just like everyone else here, pretty much. I know this AGL EZA Golden Freezer's had his uses, but yeah, there's not really any value here. And of course, you have all the unfeatured LRs that are going to be on the banner as well. But in general, like a typical legendary summon, there's not really any value here apart from the new shiny LR. So a lot of you free-to-play players, you probably want to be staying away. I'm not going to lie to you. But his leader skill, again, another one I'm going to quickly try and run through just so this video is not too long, is he leads Resurrected Warriors or Planetary Destruction with Key +4, HP and attack and defense +150. On 12 key, he raises his attack for 1 turn by 30%. causes colossal damage to an enemy and lowers attack and defense. On 18 key, he raises attack and defense by 30% and causes mega colossal damage to an enemy. And on his passive, he too, just like the ROF blues, have an entrance animation. His animations, by the way, are so good. There are some such clean shots during his animations. But after his entrance animation, he will reduce damage received by 90%. So you know the Easy 8 AGL Golden Freezer you've been bringing into every red zone event possible with LR Final Form Cooler. This guy does it with LR stats. Just saying. But his damage reduction reduces by 10% at the start of each turn, up to 60%. So he will lose 60% of his damage reduction all the way down to 30% the more the fight goes on. Which a lot of people at first, and I know a lot of global players at first will be like, well, that's not that good then. It is. Because even in harder content, regardless if that's, you know, Super Battle Road, Red Zone, Cell Max, this guy can be used in every single one of them. Yes, it's unfortunate he loses the majority of it, but he does have a lot of defense to back him up with that. And not to mention, for the majority and the brunt of the fight, he is going to be tanking everything for almost next to nothing, even at 55%. And he's still going to have some damage reduction even when he does lose the majority of it. But he still is very good defensively, even though he does lose the majority of his damage reduction. But he's pretty much perfect for SBR. Because, you know, you're never in a fight longer than 5 or 6 turns, which means you're never really going to lose the entirety of this guy's damage reduction and it actually matter. Or actually impact, you know, one of your fights and you potentially die. But the rest of his passive follows. He gets key +5, which is very nice because he's an LR. You always want to be getting the 18 key off as much as possible. Attack and defense plus 100%. Gets an additional attack and defense plus 100% and launches an additional super when HP is 50% or more. When you consider some of the categories he goes on and who you're going to be running him with, for example, on a 200% lead with LR Final Form Cooler, he's getting the additionals off defensively after getting those 12 key additionals if they do come off. Defensively, he's very good. You're looking at the Easy 8 AGL Golden Freezer, Tech Golden Freezer. You're looking at transforming Janemba with his guard and damage reduction if you get the key spheres. You're looking at LR Fizz Janemba. There are a lot of units you can surround this guy with, including himself, who are very good defensively. Another one in this as well is Easy A Strength Transforming Cooler. Not to mention his support as well, which this guy will be able to utilize. He's surrounded by some very good defensive units, including himself, so keeping your HP at 50% or more in harder content is typically a little bit of an issue. But with these guys, especially early phases during Red Zone, or at least the early few turns, should be relatively easy, which means a lot of the time, and especially in SBR as well, he will always be getting the attack and defense plus 100% on top of the 100% he gets at the start of turn, and also launching an additional super attack, which by the way is guaranteed, which means if you're hitting the 18 key, you raise your attack and defense, and then you'll do some extra damage, which is nice, and raise your attack and your attack one more time on a 12 key as well. So this should be relatively easy to get off, or a little bit easier compared to a lot of other units in the game during Red Zone, but very easy during Super Battle Road. He also gets an additional key +2 and defense plus 50% for the rest of the battle after performing 5 or more attacks during the battle, which while you keep your HP at 50% or below, above, you'll be getting that guaranteed additional, so getting those 5 attacks off should be relatively easy. Of course, unless you drop below 50% HP or less. But you'll be getting extra defense on top of that as well once you've done those an extra key, which means by this point, Golden Freezer is going to have key +7, which again, consistently getting your 18 key off is definitely going to help him do that. He also gets an additional key +2 and attack +50% for the rest of the battle after receiving 5 or more attacks during battle. Now this is incredibly easy to do, and the same thing applies, and it's a very similar thing to Gamma 1, where this guy's going to be in slot 1 for the majority of the time anyway, so being hit 5 times literally is going to take you 1, maybe 2 turns at a push. When you consider how many attacks the likes of Cell Max event, but especially Red Zone does, especially in slot 1, that's usually where the super attacks come from as well. This guy's going to be taking all the brunt of that early on, which means he's going to have all the damage reduction, so there'll be no risk at putting him there. He's going to have 90% damage reduction, all the defense he has, along with being able to raise his attack and defense on 18 key. He's literally just going to be swallowing up all that damage, while being able to get that extra key +2, which then takes him to key +9, which again helps him get off his 18 key a lot more consistently, and give him a little bit of extra attack with 50% after receiving those 5 or more attacks. So getting that off is going to be so easy in Super Battle Road and Red Zone when you consider how many attacks are going to be in one turn, and typically the amount that are in slot 1 where this guy is going to be. But once he's built up, you know, and the fight's kind of progressed a bit. Yes, he won't have his full 90% damage reduction anymore. He'll be around about 30%, but he's going to have somewhere in the region of 30% damage reduction with LR stats, 250% defense while raising his attacking defense by 30% on 18 key, and any potential support you may be giving him as well, which again, realistically on a 200% lead that he can go on, you're looking at EZA transforming Cooler, you're looking at Janemba, potentially Jason Berta. This guy's going to be fine. All that defense along with the super attack defense as well, and also the damage reduction he ends up sitting on, which is 30%. Defensively, he's still very good, and consider all of that while he still has the majority and it's slowly clocking down. This is why this guy is one of the best yellow/gold coin LRs in the game. Not to mention he's that good defensively while linking up with some of the better units in the game. Again, LR Final Form Cooler being one of them. And also doing some very good damage himself. He also has an active skill which will massively raise his attack temporarily, cause mega colossal damage to all enemies, so he does have an AoE. Again, very useful for Super Battle Road. The conditions can be activated when HP is 50% or less, starting from the 3rd turn, which very good turn restrictions. However, in like Super Battle Road, I don't know how often you're going to drop below 50% HP. I've got to be honest. Red Zone a lot more likely, but you know, to utilize the AoE, don't know how often that's going to happen in SBR, but when you're doing as much damage as you do on some of the categories he goes on, does it really matter? His link skill is Prodigy, Strongest Scan in Space, Universe's Most Malevolent, Super Gold Combat, Resurrection of F, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. Yes, those links are in there from ROF units like Super Gold Combat, Resurrection of F, things like that. But again, he's a Freezer family unit. So he has typical links like Strongest Scan in Space, Universe's Most Malevolent, along with having Fierce Battle and Legendary Power. So of course, he goes in slot 1, LR Final Form Cooler goes in slot 2. The categories he goes on is Resurrected Warriors, Movie Bosses, Full Power, Transformation Boost, Wicked Bloodline, Terrifying Conquerors, Target Goku, Revenge, Inhuman Deeds, Gifted Warriors, Planetary Destruction, Mastered Evolution, Sworn Enemies, Battle of Fate. And another thing I completely forgot while I was reading through those categories is, if you also have the LR Fizz Carnival Meta Cooler, keeping your HP at 50% or above, along with how many good defensive units can go on, specifically that team, Wicked Bloodline, but also Movie Heroes, I just remembered as well, along again with the, you know, LR Janemba, Transforming Janemba, those type of units. That cooler can help keep your HP, which then also benefits this guy. So you'll have healing, good damage output, good defense, good support. LR Final Form Cooler's 200% lead, just stay winning. They just have everything. It's such a versatile category. Right, this video is getting on a bit, so I'm going to try go a little bit quicker, but then we have the Strike Renewal EZA for King Cold. Leader skill's kind of neither here nor there, so I'm going to leave it. Super attack, he'll greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn, cause supreme damage to enemy and lowers attack and defense, which is nice. On his passive, attack and defense plus 100%, an additional key plus 3 and attack and defense plus 50%, and Wicked Bloodline categorized attack and defense plus 20% when HP is 50% or more, which, considering where you could use him like SBR, sometimes you could be caught, but again, if you think about the units that surround this guy on Wicked Bloodline, again, you're looking at some of the better defensive units in the game. Again, you have LR Meta Cooler as the healing. It might be a little bit easier to keep your HP at 50% or more, including with items. Easier than you think. All enemies get minus 25% attack and defense minus 50%. Obviously, again, doesn't make too much of an impact, but you know, that 50% nice does help you do a little bit of extra damage. You also get an additional defense plus 100% and medium chance of sealing all enemy super attacks when your team has an ally whose name includes Freezer attacking in the same turn and there is a pure or Saiyans or hybrid Saiyans category enemy. So if you're going in a Super Battle Road where there's a pure Saiyan or hybrid Saiyan enemy, and considering you're going to be running him probably surrounded by Wicked Bloodline category allies, which majority are Freezer, that's very easy to get that off. Being able to seal all enemies for 1 turn is huge, especially in Super Battle Road. So yeah, very easy to get that off, especially when, as I said, specifically when you are facing pure or hybrid Saiyan enemies. He also gets an additional attack plus 50% when the target enemy has his super attack sealed. So he's a pretty good Strike Renewal EZA. However, this bit is very specific on who you have to face. I mean, it makes sense. Well, obviously, realistically, you're not always going to be facing pure or hybrid Saiyan enemies, but considering how many pure or hybrid Saiyan kind of units are in the game, they kind of fill up the majority, so it's not too difficult, especially when you think of some of the Super Battle Road stages, which is probably the best bet where you could use him. How many of those stages where you'll be using him, they'll be facing pure or hybrid Saiyan category enemies a lot of the time anyway. So, you know, his link set is pretty similar to Super Strike, you know, EZA's. Has kind of his own ones, which are like Brutal Beatdown, Tough as Nails, Strongest Scan in Space, Universe's Most Malevolent. And then a lot of the units from Super Strike Renewal, EZAs have Bombardment, Super Strike, and of course Shattering the Limit, which of course a lot of the time you'll end up missing out, unless you run Mecha Freezer with him, which probably wouldn't be too bad of a setup. But then the next one we have is the easy area for the Golden Freezer and Soul Bay. Again, the leader skill is neither here nor there. On Super Attack, causes supreme damage with a high chance of stunning the enemy, which is nice for Super Battle Road, and raises extreme class allies attack and defense by 20% for one turn. Again, this is very nice, but it's because it's on Super, unless he's on main rotation or in slot 1, then the rest of the turn won't be able to utilize the support, especially if you have him in slot 3, because there's no one following attack, there's no attacks following after him, so you would have to have him at least in slot 2 for it to like be beneficial. He does get attack and defense plus 120 at the start of turn. He gets an additional attack and defense plus 100% for 7 turns from the start of turn, which again, considering the hardest content you'll probably take this guy into Super Battle Road, this is definitely not an issue. You'll never run out of it. He also gets an additional defense plus 100% starting from the 8th turn, key plus 6, which I don't know why you would need key to. Actually, I know why you get key plus 6. His link set is dead, or their link set is dead. So that definitely helps. Forms a critical hit and stuns the attacked enemy within the same turn after receiving an attack, and plus an additional attack plus 50%, and reduces damage received by 50% when HP is 50% or less. This bit's good. However, again, when you think about the category you take him on, getting your HP at 50% or less is kind of rather difficult, especially in Super Battle Road. You would have to like forcibly take damage to utilize that. But I mean, if your HP is at 50% or less, you put this guy in slot 1 with maybe like an item, he's going to tank everything probably really well, and then you can actually utilize the support. It's not a bad EZA, but again, when you think about who's going to be with him, how often are you going to get that below that? Actually, no, that would actually be very... Actually, no, Terrifying Conquerors, you'll probably struggle to do it on. The rest of it, you're probably just not going to use them there, but the link says new Freezer Armor, Brainiacs, Coward, Cold Judgment, Thirst for Conquest, Prodigy, Shattering the Limit. Goes on Join Forces, Terrifying Conquerors, Final Trap Card, Battle of Wits. I'm not going to lie, I don't see this unit getting ahead of any of the units that are on these categories. You could squeeze them on Terrifying Conquerors, but again, that's probably the major category where I would say, how often are you really going to be getting your HP at 50% or less, like, realistically? And then we have all the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta EZAs. Again, I'm going to gloss over the leader skill. The AGL one on Super will raise attack and defense by 30%, cause supreme damage to enemy and lowers attack. Passive is attack and defense plus 130 when performing a super attack. So you don't want this guy in slot 1. You want this guy to super attack before he gets hit, because that's where he gets all of his attack and defense from on super. He gets an additional attack and defense plus 15% per Mastered Evolution category allowed on the team. Key plus 3 and a high chance of performing a critical hit when all allies attacking in the same turn are Mastered Evolution characters. This EZA is alright, it's okay. And then the Fizz one, on Super Attack, causes supreme damage with a high chance to stun, useful in Super Battle Road, and a few red zone stages where you can actually stun now. Changes Rainbow Spheres to Fizz Key Spheres. Gets key plus 3 and attack and defense plus 120, plus an additional attack and defense plus 120 when performing a super attack. So the numbers will jump up. That's very nice indeed. Fizz type allies get attack plus 20% and chance upon a critical hit plus 10% when all allies attacking in the same turn are Fizz type. These EZAs, they're okay. They're not the best, if I'm being completely honest. They're alright. The strength one on Super Attack raises attack and defense by 30% for one turn, causes supreme damage to the enemy and lowers defense. Passive attack and defense plus 130 when performing a Super Attack. Again, you don't want him anywhere near slot 1. Gets key plus 3, plus an additional attack and defense plus 70%. All allies get defense plus 30% and a chance upon a critical hit plus 7% when all allies attacking in the same turn are Realm of God characters. Now, when you consider the categories they go on and the RRF Blues 200% lead, this one's probably up there as a little bit more of the more functional and versatile ones, a little bit more usable considering how restricted the other ones are. But the EZAs are alright. They're alright. Are they anything special? Probably not, which is a shame because that's my boy. But yeah, that is everything coming with the ROF Blues, who should be coming out this Friday instead of LR Vegeta and Trunks. Sorry this video was a bit long, but if you did watch it all the way to the end, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. And peace!